Hey crew, I've got the key to this 26 BMW M2 CS. Today we're going to take it for a first drive, but before that, let's check out how it looks on the inside and outside. What sets the CS apart visually from the standard M2? You've got these unique gloss black grille inserts for the upper horizontal grille and for the front air dam there, along with unique inserts for the corner vents, which have this very boxed out design. Above that, projector LED headlights, LED DRLs and turn signals. Unfortunately, unlike the M3 and M4 CS, they are not in yellow. BMW says they left that off to keep the cost down. They wanted this car to start under $100,000. That also means they left off the carbon fiber hood that you get in the M3, M4 CS. This just has the standard M2's aluminum hood with that power dome. This car is painted in Brooklyn gray. There's also black, Portimao blue, and the color I chose for my CS, velvet blue. That one's sitting right over there. Other unique CS touches: forged alloy wheels, 19-inch front, 20-inch rear with this bronze finish. You see that, you know it's a CS. And if you see the red painted brake calipers, you know that car has the optional carbon ceramic brakes. It's an extra $8,500. So you miss out on the carbon fiber hood, but at least you get carbon fiber mirror caps and a carbon fiber roof to lower that center of gravity. Looking at the profile, the CS sits 0.2 inches lower than the standard M2, and silhouette-wise looks the same until you get to the back end, where that carbon fiber ducktail trunk lid stands out so much. And when you lift that trunk lid, you do feel the difference in weight. And when it's up, there is some exposed matte carbon fiber around the carpeting just to look extra special. There's also plenty of room in this trunk for it being a compact two-door car. And other touches, you have the CS badging there with the red accents along with this carbon fiber diffuser. I wish they gave it a titanium exhaust system like the M3, M4 CS, but I guess they can't give it all the same bells and whistles and they have to keep that cost down again. So at least we have these large quad pipes with a blacked out finish like the regular M2. The taillights of the 2 Series just never been my favorite, and the vertical reflectors also not my styling preference. This car, relative to the F87 predecessor, not as aesthetically pleasing to me, but the CS touches really do help it stand out more, especially that ducktailing trunk lid. My question for you is whether BMW M has done enough to distinguish this car from the regular M2. Let me know in the comments, and let's check out the interior. Opening up and looking inside, you notice 2 things right away. One, the carbon fiber center tunnel, just like all the other CS models. It's so cool. It immediately sets this car apart. It's got CS in red here on top of a leather pad. You do lose out on a cup holder though, so that makes storage somewhat of an issue. The carbon bucket seats, that's number 2. These are available on the standard M2, but they're standard here on the CS. They've got suede inserts, you got the adjusting side bolsters, the dreaded carbon fiber hump, which makes it difficult on males getting in and out of the seats, along with the high side bolsters, which have integrated grab handles. And then you can remove this piece, which gives you space for a helmet. There are also pass-throughs for a racing harness. There's blue leather for the upper outer portion and red leather for the inner portion. The seats are heated and power adjusting with these controls here. You get unique M2 CS tread plates, aluminum foot pedals, and this CS logo right here, backed by carbon fiber, illuminates at night. That's really cool. I am going to show you the rear seats briefly, though I really don't want to, and you'll see why in a second. Angle the seat back forward by pulling on the fabric strap. It power glides out of the way. That's a pretty good access point to the rear chairs. Just climb on back. But then when I'm back here, the problems set in. First of all, at 6 feet tall, my head is pressed uncomfortably against the roof. I can't get back to that headrest unless I do this. I lose all the legroom therefore and the lower back support. I also don't have a cup holder back here. I just have this open tray. No armrest that comes down, just a pass through. I also don't get any USB ports, but at least I have my own armrest over here. Yay. Back up front, carefully, I move into the bucket chairs, then close up that door, where there's a nice solid thud, and I'm greeted by a CS specific suede wrap steering wheel with a flat bottom and an ultra thick rim. You've got carbon fiber faced paddles along with your M1 and M2 controls. There's a standard head-up display and then these 2 large crisp screens for your gauge cluster and infotainment within the same curved housing. It's running iDrive 8.5, which is customizable and really responsive. You do have to hunt around for things like your for your climate controls, but everything else you've got some redundancies for, like your volume knob and seek buttons, defrosters, and then your iDrive controller with some hotkeys. So you could keep your eyes up on the road and not get too distracted with the infotainment. You've also got your drive mode functions here, your leather-wrapped M gear selector with the tricolor stitching, and then that carbon fiber, which just looks amazing. It's continued up on the dashboard with some cool ambient glow around the air vents. You've got a USB-A port there, wireless charging pad, key slot, and then USB-C port down here. So there's a lot of tech. There's also a standard Harman Kardon sound system. You've got a lot of driver-focused details, but then some other stuff for at least the front passenger. Sorry, rear passengers. Okay, now it's time to take the M2 CS for a drive. All right, let's fire it up. On comes the twin-turbo inline six-cylinder. Let's hear the idle from outside real quick. It's a pretty subdued idle, and that was actually with the exhaust baffles open. It gets even quieter when you close them up, hitting this button right here. Hey cabin crew, thanks for joining for this first drive of the 26 BMW M2 CS. It's a car I almost own. Mine was actually brought into the dealership while I was on vacation in the Northeast. I went straight from that to here in South Carolina, the Michelin Lawrence Proving Grounds for this first drive experience. So I have not had any seat time in this car. It's the first time I'm actually even seeing the M2 CS in person. So let's get on out of here. I'm gonna throw on my seatbelts. And from the setup screen, we can see I've got everything over here in efficient and comfort. Just to start things off, clicking it over into drive, and we are away. And as you can see, it is raining a little bit today, so we won't get to the extremes of the dry weather performance with this car, unfortunately. We will have some track time later, and there is also going to be a skid pad portion, so it will get sideways for sure, but we are on Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires. So even though at no cost you can option on Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires or even Cup 2Rs, they equipped these vehicles, considering the weather, with the PS 4S tires. Let's get into what is powering the M2 CS. It's still the S58 motor. It's a twin-turbocharged 3-liter inline six-cylinder, but now it makes 523 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque. That is just 20 horsepower shy of the M3 and M4 CS, and it's 50 horsepower more than the standard M2. And though the power is the biggest news with this new M2 CS, it's also noteworthy that it only has one transmission. You can no longer option it with a 6-speed manual like you could in the F87 M2 CS. You just get this 8-speed torque converter ZF automatic. No dual clutch, it's just that ZF transmission they've used in a variety of different applications. It's an excellent gearbox, but we're all kind of just groaning a little bit, the enthusiast in us, that you can't even choose the manual. I will say the M2, the standard M2's manual, the tuning of it is not my favorite. It is a revelation when you drive the Z4 M40i's manual. Same gearbox, just completely tuned differently, and it's so good. So much feel, it's a tight transmission. I would have loved if that was an option in this M2 CS. Frankly, if it was just the regular M2's 6-speed, I'm not sure I would have chosen it. But at least this ZF is a really well-sorted transmission, ultra smooth, just as I'm putzing around town here. And the fact that it is still a rear drive only sports car relative to the M3 and M4, which in CS guys are all-wheel drive only, helps it feel distinct in the M portfolio. It is the smallest M car you can buy, and now with power that almost matches the bigger M3 and M4 CS, this is a really attractive proposition. And so far, I'm loving the driving experience, even though it has been stiffened up. It's got stiffer engine mounts and a track tuning of the adaptive M suspension. At least on these PS 4S tires, it feels pretty compliant on road imperfections like this. And though there is a good degree of road noise entering this cabin, It's tolerable. I do really wish BMW had a standard M2 that we could drive alongside this new CS, because it has been admittedly about 8 months since I was in the regular M2. So my impressions of that car are a little bit fuzzy, but I will say just straight off the bat, the changes they've made to the steering rack shine through clearly. It feels much more urgent with your inputs, and therefore I have a greater connection to the car, even when I'm just coasting around these rural roads. And part of that does come from the chassis tweaks that they have made. It feels a little more on its toes, ready to go. Now, though it is very wet outside and this car is rear-wheel drive, I do have a straight piece of road ahead of me and a race box set up to record a real-world 0 to 60. So let's do that. I have all the settings for launch control enabled in the M2 button that I've pressed. Foot is on the brake, ping the throttle, preparing launch. It's active, and we're hesitating. Now we're going. And there's 60 in 4.69 seconds. With no traction, no stability control, seeing a time just a second off BMW's dry estimate, that's seriously impressive. With only the rear tires getting all of that, you know it's underrated power. BMW never properly rates their cars, so it feels quicker than 523 horsepower, that's for sure. I'm not sketched out at all. With traction and stability turned off, putting my foot in it on damp roads, it gets the power to the ground. Really excellent Michelin PS4S tires for sure, but also just a sophisticated drivetrain. But now it's time to take this performance off the street and onto the track. All right, it's time to have some fun on the track in the wet and feel out the changes they have made. I forgot to mention when I was thinking about the weight savings that if you do equip the carbon ceramics, as I did on my car, you're saving just under 40 pounds of unsprung weight. And that really is going to help the car feel much lighter, much quicker on the turn-in. I get that right away. This is also a very thick rimmed wheel, which is fun, and it's super squishy, so my hands just sink into it. The car feels really delicate out here. Easy to place. And this car also has some M4 CSL bits, like the engine and the transmission mounts, helping it feel stiffer, more track focused. Right now I'm in manual mode, but leaving it in a gear probably one higher than I normally would, just based on the conditions. Smooth under braking. Oh, that's exactly the corner. I went around this track once before where it started to wiggle on me as well. But you can have a great sense through the wheel when that is going to happen, and when it does break out, obviously with traction control still on, but even still, you just can sense it all the way through. With that M differential, just finds a way to get the power down. As I experienced even on the street with that 0 to 60 test, that ZF8 speed is quick on the down and up shifts. Sets up so nicely for each corner, and then through the curves just can sense out the right amount of power. There's so much torque coming in from just 2,700 RPM and carrying through to about 5,200, 5,300 RPM. It's hard to really feel like you're completely in the wrong gear at any point in time. Now the rain's coming down harder. Upshift one more gear here. It's so much fun. Ripping a rear drive car in the very wet It just dances. Now we're looking at the wet slalom, so this will be a good chance to really feel out the weight transfer for this car, what they've done with the camber adjustments for the CS relative to the standard M2, and of course how the extra power plays out. So here we go. Just steps out so nicely there. The PS4S tires, still equipped to the cars that we're driving here, have better wet weather performance than the Cups or Cup 2s, but they can really still hack it on a track.
Blue, when you get to the greens, count to 4 and then you're gonna take off.
I love the power, it's so, so good. And you can still be very smooth with this car. Smooth braking. A little bit understeer there, that's just mostly my fault. Not going harder on the brakes later. Here when it lets go. There it is. Really loving the steering feel of this car. Not just the way it turns in, but how you can correct it. How you can feel it out. Of course, I have DSC and traction control switched off. And here's another detail I've appreciated more as I've been going sideways more often. These M carbon buckets, which are optional on the standard M2, but standard on the CS, and they hold me so well in place. And when you need your hands to be at a certain position or your feet to be there as well, knowing that they will be with the carbon buckets versus the sloshing that can happen with a standard sports seat, it makes all the difference. So you can just play all day.